Hello and welcome to Freedom Through Astrology, where we're giving you the keys. Well, wow, that actually worked pretty good. It's freedomthroughastrology.com. I'm your astrologer, Donald Patak. This is a little bit of serendipity. My picture is actually right next to my name nicely, and it doesn't cover anything up. Okay. Email address, and this is copyright, standard YouTube copyright, etc. And I'm telling you, I'm giving you the keys. Well, these are the keys to understanding my readings because I do read astrology a little differently. I read what's called constellational astrology, also called true sidereal astrology. It's astrology by the visible sky. It's how the ancients practiced astrology. Tropical astrology fixed the signs to seasons sometime in the 220 AD era. I don't live in ancient Rome, and neither do you. The ancients knew about precession of the equinox. They wrote about it. They asked where the planets in the sky, read them where they are, actually in the visible sky. So that's what I do. So return to the past. Return to the future. I don't know. I use the natural size of the constellations. There are astrologers who make every constellation the same size, but when you live out in the country like me and you're stargazing and you happen to notice that Virgo is like really, really huge, like almost 50 degrees, and there's something like Scorpio or Aries or Libra, Ophiuchus, Cancer are less than 25 degrees each. Constellations are all different sizes, so I'm reading them the way they are in the visible sky. I use astrological midpoints. The IAU boundaries are arbitrary and can take stars from one constellation and blend them into another, which ain't right. So Athens Shementi noticed this and he came up with his midpoint system. I like it. I think it's more accurate. And you heard me mention Ophiuchus. Many astrologers read 12 signs, but if you're, again, outside, something we very rarely do anymore, even I got to get outside more. Okay. I don't suffer from ADD, ADHD. I enjoy every minute of it. It just drives everybody else nuts. Ophiuchus, between Scorpio and Sagittarius, if you're out there, you're going to see this big gap. You're going to see a gap, and you're going to see this other constellation. That's Ophiuchus. It's the sign of the wounded healer. I'll talk about that during this during this podcast, whatever you want to call it. But it's where you're wounded in life, so that you can learn to heal yourself and then heal others or serve as an example to others with similar wounds. This is the weekly edition. So these are the weekly lessons for everyone. So have help, have a little compassion on your fellow dirt travelers. And I read what is called evolutionary astrology, which says that the planets and constellations are teachers and they're offering you lessons. So it's not this will happen to you. This is the lesson that's being offered. You can either choose to learn the lesson or you can choose to make a mess. And that's a key lesson here, freedom of choice. Many astrologers are very fatalistic. I'm not. I believe the constellations and the planets give you choices. My dates and times are based on the Eastern US time zone. And I'm looking for, and you'll notice my transits are a little short because I'm operating within 1 degree of being exact. I could go a lot wider. However, that would leave me feeling overwhelmed. And if I'm overwhelmed, you're lost. So, yeah. All right. So these are the transits for the week of November 21st through for that 25th through December 1st, 2024. The sun is currently in Scorpio. It just entered last week, Saturday, I think. The moon begins the week in Virgo and ends in Ophiuchus. And we have the new moon this week in Scorpio. Active planets this week, Sun, Mercury, and Venus. 3 of the 4 inner planets are kicking it up. Excuse me, it's been a long week. I'm really tired. Our outer planets, nodes of the moon, and Chiron are active. Our power transit, we begin the week with our power transit, the sun working with the nodes. Really a good chance for transformation here and being able to see the past and the future and make your choices. And station retrograde. As of Sunday night, Mercury is station retrograde, meaning it looks like it's standing still in the sky before it starts to move, or appears to be moving backwards. This is a time of reflection on what you're learning and how you're communicating. We'll talk more about that shortly. And other retrograde planets, Jupiter, Uranus, Neptune, and Chiron, are all retrograde. Chiron really belongs between Jupiter and Uranus because its orbit actually takes it between Saturn and Uranus. Okay, get this out of the way here. All right, and as we can see in our week, get my doodle tool. Really, we have two sections. We have the beginning of the week. We have the sort of the end of the week. What in the world? Oh, I know what's happening. Never mind. With the exception of Saturday. Oh, I'll talk about that later. But as you can see, we have this nice breather on Friday. But as you can see, the beginning of the week, this is where bulk of our activity is, and it's all over by Thursday evening, depending on where you are. Like Eastern time zone and to Thursday evening. So we're finishing up some transits from last week, a couple of transits at the beginning of the week, a nice breather, and then we have the end of the week. And as you can see, the moon. Let me just clear this out. And you can see the moon Monday through Thursday. This really belongs, it's more over here-ish, actually. It transits in the afternoon. But Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and into Thursday is Virgo. And Ophiuchus is more in the afternoon that it happens as well. So as you can see, even the moon, I mean, the moon is relative to all things being equal. The moon is relatively stable this week. So this is a real opportunity for emotional stability. Granted, the sun is going to be in a new moon with in Scorpio. Yeah. So, and the new moon happens on Sunday. And like I said, it happens Sunday. Whoa. Oh, I know why that's happening. I'm hitting the bottom of my mouse pad. New moon on Sunday, and it's very early Sunday morning, just after midnight. So that'll be nice. Most people who are doing their shopping will be home sleeping. And all these people are freaking out. Nothing like celebrating what's supposed to be a great spiritual event with crass commercial consumerism. Pardon the irony. But even the moon, as you can see, is, pardon my sarcasm. As you can see, even the moon is steady. So it's really, honestly, a relatively calm week, all things being equal. So Saturday, we do have the sun in Scorpio trining the North Node. So the sun in Scorpio, emotional depth, you're exploring yourself deeply, really. You're looking into yourself. I think Heraclitus said it best, I looked into myself. It's one of the great journeys that most people never take, is they're looking into themselves. And this is a trine. This is an easy energy to do. So it's an ability, actually. It's also a waning trine, which is releasing. But the North Node in Pisces, the lesson there is learning to be present. So really, as I don't know, it could be deep meditation, whatever you do, really, it's you exploring yourself, learning about yourself, and learning how to release those things that keep you out of the present moment. Oh, cool. This is up to 100%. So focus on exploring and integrating a higher purpose into your life as well. That's also Pisces. North Node in Pisces can be a higher purpose in your life. Be open to inspiration, deep insights, however they can arrive. So in this time, you're digging into yourself deeply, exploring, taking time for your spiritual practices, whatever they may be. And just getting deeper insights about yourself. Now, the shadow here, we all know about the sun, can be egotistical. And it can shine really bright, or it can choose not to shine at all. And the North Node can be about ignoring your life's purpose and in Pisces, is trying to escape. So furious, moody, and trying to numb the pain, or trying to hide and looking for ways, any way you can hide and numb the pain, or doing whatever. But now, what do I have written here? Failure can have you lost in the woods and falling into a fantasy about what you're learning or becoming or who you are. So, being egotistical and thinking that you're greater than you are, or you're still being egotistical in a way, but thinking of yourself being less than you are. That's missing the point. And if it said trine to the north node, it's sextile to the south node. Really should circle this. So sextiling the south node in Virgo, what its intention here is showing you how you hold yourself back in life and in this way, it's the unrealistic expectations, standards being too high. And the sun in Scorpio here, in looking at doing that deep exploration, is seeing how these unrealistic expectations, you hold yourself back with these unrealistic expectations. And that's what I have here is be aware of how you're holding yourself back with perfectionist practices. Situations can arise where good enough is the solution. Take time to explore this if you can. Falling deeper into a controlling attitude keep you lost in the trees and not knowing what forest you're in. Pardon my snark and sarcasm, but Scorpio can get so far in the forest and so examining the trees that it can't even tell you about the fact that it's in a forest. And you can get so lost in exploring something and holding yourself to these unrealistic expectations that you can really, really drown yourself in a way. And Sunday night, whoops, your drawings, close. Sunday night, Mercury in Ophiuchus is moving station retrograde. Mercury is the planet of learning and communication. It's opening your mind to new experiences. And in Ophiuchus, the intention here is to learn how to heal first yourself so you can then heal others with similar wounds. Mercury could be very well teaching, so teaching, healing, etc., and communicating. Mercury is definitely the planet of communicating. So, and how are you communicating this healing knowledge? The symbol for Ophiuchus looks like a U with a little squiggle there. It's a symbol of a man holding a snake by the head and tail. The snakes in ancient times symbolized knowledge. Gee, it throws a different perspective on that little incident in the garden if he doesn't it. But what are you learning? And learning knowledge, and Ophiuchus is the wounded healer. What are you learning about healing yourself? How are you communicating that? Take time to reflect on that. So reflect what you've learned about healing. How are you using and communicating it to others? And how are you teaching it to others? And the shadow here, Mercury can be a know-it-all or thinking it can't learn. And Ophiuchus can refuse healing or use the knowledge to wound others. One of these times I'm going to pop up, I'm going to look at Joseph Mengelé's chart. I'm just wondering what he has in Ophiuchus. That man was just horrible. But nonetheless, this is using knowledge to wound. That's the shadow here. Be careful because it's wounding yourself or wounding other people. And that's not what you're here to do. Creating bad karma, ick. Let me see, what do I have as a shadow? Thinking that this is a time that this reflection is unnecessary, that nothing can be learned from it, can lead to deeper wounds for yourself and those you're seeking to help. So, maybe it's a different way of learning or a different way of communicating or reflecting on what you know. I'm not sure if Mercury goes back into Scorpio on this. I'm going to take it on a week-by-week basis, but nonetheless. And finally, Sunday, the moon enters Virgo, and this is a desire to. Virgo is one of my GSD signs. Get stuff done. I'm going to keep the language clean there. But emotionally, Virgo loves planning, organizing, getting its ideas up and ready, and self-improvement. So emotionally, you're up for that self-improvement. So let go of what keeps you from becoming a better version of yourself. Take this time. We are in the waning cycle of the moon, so it is about releasing. So this is about releasing those unrealistic expectations. Let go of what keeps you from becoming a better version of yourself. Take the time to improve and become better at what leads to feelings of success. So by releasing these unrealistic expectations, you actually increase the probability of finding success in life. Yay. or at least emotional success. Now, the shadow here, moon, can be very emotional and moody. And in Virgo, that perfectionist attitude and those unrealistic expectations, this can be a very sour time. So, falling into pessimism and feelings of impossibility can lead to inaction and feelings of futility. And mind you, this starts late Sunday night, but this is all day Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and into Thursday. So this is the bulk of your week. What do you want to achieve emotionally? Let go of unrealistic expectations. Ask yourself what is really possible and practical, and focus on that. And now we begin our new transits. And this is an interesting situation we have here. We have the sun in Scorpio, and we said that was self-exploration, looking in your own forest. And then we have Mars in Cancer. And what's interesting here is that Mars is the ancient ruler of Cancer, or not of Cancer, but of Scorpio. So Mars is really kind of showing up here in the front and then kind of behind the scene. But as you're exploring here and doing that self-exploration, one of the things that, and this is an easy thing to do, is to learn self-care and having the courage to take care of yourself and the courage to heal yourself. The old adage is physician, heal thyself. I can't think of a better transit to show this or make that statement. So have the courage to explore self-care more deeply, make it a priority if you can. Now, here's the thing. Mars can get defensive, a defensive warrior, and shield itself and hide itself. The sun in Scorpio, moody and egotistical. I don't think it can get any worse than that. So it's possible to get lost in details, become defensive or fearful, and avoid. And if I give you some advice, avoid fear-based decisions because they could have a negative outcome. Sorry, I had to work all day today. It's quite a day. But there we go. So there's your that's how we're beginning this week. So have the chance, take the time to explore yourself and have the courage to nurture yourself. You explore your ego, your core identity. And I'm just going to jump back for a second. It's not going to let me go back. There we go. I need new ones. I would call the sun the ego. You came here to learn to have a healthy ego. So taking the time to explore even what a healthy ego means can be very healing and nurturing. Tuesday, take a breath. Remember to exhale. Yes, we will have transits going on, but we will have no new transits. So do take this time to work with the transits that are going on and are completing. That's your homework. Please write at least a 3 to 5 page essay reflecting on what you've learned from each transit. Oops. Sorry, Toes. Toes wanted to keep warm, so she climbed on my lap. That's your kitten commercial. As long as she's cozy, I'm not going to pick her up. Wednesday, we have Venus in Sagittarius squaring Chiron retrograde in Pisces. So Venus, the planet of relationships and creativity in Sagittarius, the aim here is to learn trust and take the time to get up, go out and explore. Sagittarius is the archer. Shoot an arrow off into the air. Now let's go find it. And it's in a square, and there are astrologers who, oh my gosh, it's a square, it's a bad thing. The squares are challenges whose purpose is to strengthen you. That's a key thing here. How is this transit strengthening? So you have Venus, relationships, having faith and trust, and Chiron, healing, and Pisces, releasing wounds and learning to be present. So when you learn to be present and release wounds, and you actually have the courage to step out and be, not necessarily be seen, but go out and have faith and trust and go out, it can be a very healing event for you. Let's see, what do I have here? Have the courage to explore. Nope, sorry, wrong thing. There we go. Face the challenge of healing and releasing wounds in relationships. Being present can help greatly. Learning the lessons of forgiveness. That really came up. Can be healing if you release the offense. And this is you releasing the fence against others, and you asking for forgiveness from others. I think that's very important. Do listen to healers, listen to counselors, and listen to people who are relationship experts. They can give incredible healing advice. So, and if you're open to accepting that challenge of healing those relationships and releasing those wounds, this can be an incredible transit. The shadow here, Venus can be slick and manipulative. Chiron can be wounding. In Pisces, Pisces, it's either falling into fantasy or trying to escape, and escape pain in many, many different ways. So, this can be falling into relationship fantasies and causing wounds to other people. Who knows? But yeah, that could be there's that option, and there was something else that I had written down and I left those notes someplace. Now that I think about that, I think that was more for me than it was for the general populace. So we'll let that go. But again, this is the challenge of healing relationships. And the shadow here is being slick and manipulative, trying to manipulate people, and that leading to deeper wounding. And a square is tension, and it's a challenge. And if you're trying to manipulate people and that tension just gets out of whack, everything collapses. So that's kind of a warning there. Be careful of that. So playing games and trying to manipulate can lead to wounding and a loss of relationships, or even the destruction of your own creativity, because Venus does rule the arts and creativity. Okay, Thursday, more Thursday afternoon here in the Eastern time zone, but adjust your clocks accordingly. The moon enters Libra. Excuse me. And so this is going to be a time of paradox. Libra, the scales. And when you put in science class, when you have the scales and you put an object on one side and you put the weights on the other and you're trying to balance them out, they do this ups and downsy thing. So you're emotionally maybe a little unsettled and a little unbalanced, but seek that emotional balance and learn to work with it. So to open up the opportunity to find peace may involve dealing with ambiguity and paradox. You may find situations that don't make sense, but by doing what doesn't make sense, you can actually find the very peace the emotional peace that you're seeking. And here in the United States, it's Thanksgiving. So you're going to be dealing with family most likely. So yeah, there's that. Open up the opportunity to find peace may involve a place. It's all about perspective. Things don't let them be and work their way out. And if you learn to work with a Libra energy like that and let the scales go up and down, and eventually till they find that point of balance, that's the best thing to do right now with this emotionally. Being indecisive, refusing to make up your mind and giving your power away and letting somebody else make your mind up for you can lead to insecurity and be very destabilizing. Friday, take a breath. Remember to exhale. It's infamous Black Friday when people go crazy trying to get deals and stuff. And like I said, nothing more says spiritual holiday than crass consumerism. I think I'm going to attribute that to Calvin and Hobbes. I think that's where I saw that first. And the more I read Calvin and Hobbes, the more I realize that it's more a philosophy cartoon about philosophy than anything else. And Saturday. Okay, so if you want to go shopping, Friday might actually be the better day, or maybe later Sunday. Because Saturday, the moon enters Scorpio, and it's going to be an emotionally intense day. So emotionally intense. The moon is your emotions. Scorpio can go really deep and be very intense and driven. So do be careful about that. So face deep emotional truths and be prepared for moments of intensity. Release what no longer serves you. So release these feelings that no longer serve you and no longer bring you peace. And the shadow here, well, we know the moon can be moody, and in Scorpio, it's on steroids. So it's really capable to have a really bad weekend here. And I do mean that. And let's see, my notes here say falling into rotten moods or becoming emotionally lost misses the moment. Yeah, this is where you can get so lost in yourself and so lost in your mood that you miss the magic of the moment. So be careful of that. And Sunday. Here in the Eastern time zone, this happens right after midnight, but as you can see, there's a whole ton of stuff happening in the sky. I'm just going to focus on the bottom part there. The sun conjunct the moon. Sun, the ego, your core identity is conjunct the moon, your soul, your emotional self. So it's really a spotlight on that soul and emotional self. And in Scorpio, depth, intensity, analysis of what your emotional self. So do take time to explore that. That sun is a spotlight, and it's spotlighting and highlighting your emotional self. Don't think it's an eclipse. In fact, I know it's not. So focus on healing deep inner wounds. Take time to be alone and explore your identity and feelings more deeply. An inner look can be deep inner look can be helpful. So if you're using this time for deep inner exploration, it can be incredibly healing at the time. Okay. Later in the day, we have Mercury retrograde in Ophiuchus, trining Chiron retrograde in Pisces. This is another interesting situation because Chiron, even though it's in Pisces, is the modern ruler of Ophiuchus. So this kind of amplifies Chiron's power and influence here. So we have Mercury retrograde reflecting on its ability to learn and communicate, and that is in a trine to Chiron in Pisces. Trines are usually a very positive energy, and it can be reflecting on how you're healing and what you're learning and how you're being present. And I'm sure that if you took them work with the energy, Chiron would either give you keys or ask you to surrender them so that you can learn to be a guest. So yeah, this is an opportunity to reflect on what you're learning in healing and the ability to be present. So reflect on the healing that you have learned, reflect on the knowledge and how it can be helping you. Releasing old knowledge can be beneficial. And this is that waning trine. So this is learning to heal and being able to release what's stopping you from being present and in the moment. That can be very, very helpful in healing. The shadow here, as we talked about with Mercury and Ophiuchus, is being a know-it-all or thinking you can't learn about healing. And Chiron in Pisces is deeply wounding and finding any way to try to numb the pain. So thinking you're completely healed or that you know everything can lead to mistakes and injuries. And for me, endless chatter, not sharing information lead to deep wounding of yourselves and others. So be careful about wounding yourself. Yesterday was espresso day. I should have made some espresso shots. First, I'd have to go out and buy espresso. So Sunday, we have Venus in Sagittarius trining Uranus retrograde in Taurus. And again, this is a waning trine. So this is an easy release, which is wonderful. Venus in Sagittarius. Venus is about relationships, about creativity. And in Sagittarius, it's release, pull out that bow and release it. Where does it land? Bring that arrow back. Show the crowd that's gathered that you're a real archer as you pegged someone with that thing. Be careful here because it could lead to you being someone that you're not. But nonetheless, Uranus in Taurus is finding peace by being your authentic self. So Uranus in retrograde in Taurus is you reflecting, are you being authentic? How is that providing you stability and peace in your life? So this is a trine, and so this is relationships. Are you involved in authentic relationships? Can you release the ones that are not? Let's see. My notes here say release stress by letting go of who or what is not true to you, reflect on what brings you peace in relationships, and pay attention to authenticity. Explore what that means to you. Uranus is the planet of individuality and you being who you really are. Pay attention to people who are independently minded in real, and we know who they are. They're those people that don't need to impress anyone. Because yeah, the exact opposite, which is the shadow of Uranus, are those people who sell out, trying to fit in, or those who try to act out and do stuff to try to get a reaction. So standing out and being someone that you are not, or looking for the easy way out of situations can lead to problems down the road. And trying to manipulate people into doing things that you are for you that you are not, or things that they are not, can be very damaging to relationships as well. And later on Sunday, the moon enters Ophiuchus. The moon, your emotional self in Ophiuchus, healing. This would be a day-ish or so of healing and licking your wounds and getting over them and releasing them. Yeah. So this is the ability to release wounds. So, hey, you know what? Honestly, I like to take the day off if at all possible. So Sunday, take the day off. Don't even go shopping. If you want to get up and go out and walk, go take a walk in the park or something. But it's time to heal emotionally, be open to learning how to be able to receive it. Healers may present themselves in your life, learn to work with them. The shadow is being overly emotional, and the sun's got wheel years inside. It just wants to reposition it. So yeah, okay, I'm not sure where I was going with that. I got lost in a train of thought there. So, but yeah, the wounding, yeah, the moon in Ophiuchus can be deeply wounding of yourself, and refusing to heal or wounding yourself or others emotionally can be devastating, and they can be very deep wounds as well. I have to watch this to see where was I going with that train of thought. But yeah, so there we go. I'm sorry about it. This was not. I've tried doing this a couple of times, and I'm just like really exhausted from a long week of work. And yeah, so follow me on social media. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. I'm on the Digital Soul Space, where we're yeah, these three places here making billions of dollars off of your data, and you're not getting much if anything. Digital Soul Space is privacy oriented. Your data they don't sell. It's all held securely. Um, three moderators that are doing their best to keep the place a troll-free zone. Site reminder, I forgot to open it up. It's been one of those days. But if that was interesting. Uh, I'm just gonna do this off the top of my head because I do want to go to bed sometime tonight. Uh, if you do go to the page freedomthroughastrology.com, um, it starts out with the horoscope and the past life reading or the karmic reading. So and with evolutionary astrology, the horoscope or your birth chart reading is that's the first level. The birth chart reading is understanding what the end all goal of your life is. In evolutionary astrology, your birth chart isn't the beginning, it's the end. And the karmic chart or the past life reading tells of karma that you brought into this life to heal. Two separate readings. That's key number one. Key number two are the horoscopes I offer yearly, life cycle, which is kind of an interesting thing, but yearly horoscopes, quarterly and monthly. And with the monthly, I like to go new moon to new moon because the moon, the month in ancient times was the first day of the month was the new moon. So I like to do it that way. Um, and for the yearly, I do get asked, like, does it have to be January 1st? No, you can do the yearly horoscope beginning whenever you want. My one friend does it on their birthday. Other people do it using the midwinter solstice. A friend of mine, he follows the Chinese calendar, and so we has his beginning of the year in around that beginning of February. People use their birthdays, so whatever. And then I do offer packages which are combined readings, and the all the packages have a 10% discount built in. Uh, there is a newsletter. If you click on subscribe, it's just your email. All I need, and it's just a once a month, once a week newsletter. And I go over like the transits for the week, a spot of deep reading. If there's special events, like we have the Sun in Scorpio, I give that's where I give my discounts to. That's who I give the discounts to. Um, I have a blog on there, which I go take the transits and I explore them just a little bit deeper. It's just been a long week and I'm exhausted. I just want to go to bed. Sorry. But there you go. One more thing I want to plug. Friend of mine, Rio Larman, makes a true sidereal planner. A lot of like planners that you get out there, they have the tropical astrology stuff in it. She makes one and she sits down and figures it out. And she does the new moons. She calculates everything out. So she's telling you the right new moons and stuff. That's true sidereal. Go to her link tree and it's available in electronic or a PDF that you can download right away and print off for yourself. Or she showed a picture on her Facebook page of a hard copy, and it's not it's a hard copy of the physical planner book. It looks like it has metal rings as binders, so it's not like a book or with those plastic binders. They look like metal rings, so it looks like it's really well done. I'm not getting anything to plug this. I'm just doing it because I think it's a great product, you know. So thank you. Like, follow, share, sign up for the newsletter. Hopefully, I get into this new schedule, get my work schedule nailed out. No longer teaching. I'm out in the other work world and learning to work on that. So get my schedule down and get a regular sleep schedule going again. So thank you. Like, follow, share, sign up for the newsletter. Have yourself a good week and as best week as you can have. Thank you.